Okay. In the last session, we completed the introduction of economics, and now we'll continue with last two topics of unit number one. Okay. So unit number one, we till now we completed what is economics, what is business economics, what is micro and macro economics. Okay. Now in this lecture, we'll complete nature of business economics and scope of the business economics. Okay. These are the last two topics which we can complete in this chapter. Okay. In this particular unit, chapter number one. Okay. So let's continue our discussion. Okay. So what is the topic now? Nature of the business economics. Nature of business economics. Okay, so let's go on to the text and read some content. The following points will describe the nature of the business economics. So you know what is nature? So what exactly the business economics deals with? So this is called nature of business economics. Okay, so business economics is a type of science. It is a type of art. It deals with micro. It deals with macro. Okay, it is pragmatic approach. It is normative approach. Okay, so there are many other points we need to discuss. Let us understand in detail. Okay, first one. So what we understood till now about business economics is nothing but taking right decisions of the business on right time for the purpose of achievement of objectives. What are the objectives? Profit making. Okay, so first one we need to understand is business economics. This decision making acts as science. It is what? It is science. So science, what is science? Science is nothing but, okay, it gives cause and effect relationship. Okay, if something happens like this, the effect may be this. Say for example, if the demand for the product is increased in the market, demand for the product, if it is increased, and the suppliers who are supplying those goods are very few, and people are now ready to buy that product at high rate, high price, high cost. Okay, so what is the cause and effect now? So if the demand is going up, then the price will also go up. Okay, so what is the cause for going up of the price? Okay, the demand rises. Okay, when demand goes up, the price will also go up. Okay, because when the demand is more, the people are ready to buy, but no one is selling. The supply is less. When the supply is less, demand is more. Obviously, people will be ready to pay more money. More money. This is called cause and effect relationship. Okay, so science deals with what? Cause and effect relationship. See, science is a systematic body of knowledge, okay, which establishes cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect relationship. Okay, the business economics integrates the tools of decision sciences such as mathematics, statistics. As I already told you, okay, the demand, there are various methods to forecast the demand. Okay, just now I have taken the example of demand. When demand goes up, how can you say demand is going up? Okay, based on certain basis, okay, or certain facts, certain subjects like mathematics, statistics, econometrics, etc., we come to a conclusion that demand is going up. When demand is going up, what is the ultimate effect? The price also will go up. So when the price is going up for an individual business, is it an advantageous point or not? Yes, when the price is high, they can make more profits. Okay, and hence business economics acts as science. It considers mathematics, statistics, econometrics, and it establishes what? The cause and effect relationship. I hope you're all getting the point very, very clear. Okay, so let's understand the second point. Let me jump from science point to art point. Okay, let us go to point number 4. Business economics is also an art. Okay, so what is the difference between science and arts? Okay, science, it just gives what? Some facts. Okay, so say for example, cause and effect relationship. Now this particular theory, when it is practically applied, when it is practically implemented, okay, is it really true that happens in reality? In reality, when demand goes up, will the price really goes up? Okay, so science says it goes up by considering certain theory parts. Now, is it really practically implemented, practically possible? Yes, it is also practically possible. The practical possibility or implementation, applicability of science is nothing but art. So what is the difference between science and art? Science, it says something based on some basis, based on some theories, mathematical formulas, statistical theories. Okay, science says something, but is it really happening? Yes, it really happens in this business economics. Okay, and it is called as what? Art. I hope you're all getting the point very, very clear. Okay, just a minute. Yes. Okay, so point number 4 is also over. See, as it involves practical application of rules and principles of attainment of certain objectives. Rules and principles are set by whom? Science. Okay, the practical implementation of science is nothing but art. Okay, so don't worry. For the time being, the text, it may be difficult for you, but going forward, when we complete chapter number 2, 3, 4, you will understand in detail the areas of economics. And then if you can read unit number 1 of chapter number 1, you will be even more satisfied with the content whatever it is given here. Okay, so for the time being, don't worry, understand whatever I say, have some patience, and for the next 20 to 30 hours, whatever we discuss in chapter number 2, 3, 4, then you'll have the complete picture, bright content in your mind. Okay, I hope you will get the point. Done. So let us go to the second point. Business economics. Will it deal with microeconomics or not? Yes, as I already told you, business economics is the combination of what? It is consideration of combination of micro and macro. So micro talks about only internal business issues, and macro considers about overall aggregate variables which are having a bearing on, which are having some effect on the business. Okay, so for the time being, I can just read microeconomics. Yesterday it was already over. In the lecture number 1, it was already over. Let us read. Economics largely based on, business economics largely based on what? Microeconomics. So you already know what is microeconomics. Okay, the business manager is usually concerned about achievement of what? Predetermined objectives of the organization. So what are the predetermined objectives of the organization? Profit making, wealth maximization. This is what we discussed yesterday. Okay. Now, so as to ensure the long-term survival and profitable functioning of the organization. That's what. Okay. So this is the first objective. You tell me one thing. If I do business in the first year, the real profits I got. Okay. In the next year, the business got shut down. Is it a right way of doing business? Okay. What is the second objective of the organization of the business? In fact, if I ask you, the second one is what? Long-term survival. Okay, if I start business today, the first day I got profits. Everyone bought my goods. The next day, all the demand got collapsed. Is it a right way of doing business? No. My objective will be what? Making profits, that too in the long run. In the long period, long-term survival is my next objective. So all these things I can be achieving by having the right decisions, when I make by considering the microeconomics. So that's what it is said here. The profitability is the first objective, long-term survival is the second objective. Okay, since the business economics is concerned more with the decision-making problems of individual establishment. That is nothing but what? Only sole business I'm talking about. Sole business. It relies heavily on microeconomics. As I already told you, microeconomics deals with what? Demand and supply. Okay, production and cost, revenue, markets, everything. Okay, all these things put together, and consumer behavior, how the consumer is behaving. Okay, everything will come under what? Microeconomics only. And then, so macroeconomics. As you already know, okay, the business is affected by both micro and at the same time, macro is also really very important. Sometimes, microeconomics assumes some theories. Okay, those theories we'll be learning very soon. Okay, but that theory may be affected because of what reason? Macro environment. So I already told you yesterday that there are a lot of organizations which came into many businesses in 2019 based on some assessment of microeconomics. Okay, but what happened in 2020? Because of macro environment, aggregate impact is there on the business, and lot of business got shut down. Okay, and hence we need to consider what? Micro and macro also. So business economics considers macro analysis also. A business unit does not operate in a vacuum. In its isolation, it cannot operate. Okay, So what is isolation? It cannot be separated from the external world. Okay, it shall be affected by the external world. Okay, and hence the reactions or whatever happening in the external world, it will have its impact on the business itself. Okay, and hence business needs to consider what? The external impact also. Say for example, there is a business I just want to start. Okay, it is hugely dependent upon the raw material which we can get from Israel, or which we can get from Russia. Okay, now there is a war happening between, okay, some countries across the world, and it is affecting the raw material exportation from their side, which will have the effect on raw material importation from my side, and hence my business will affect because of the macro environmental issues. Okay, so and hence the business unit does not operate in its vacuum. Okay, it will be affected by external environment of the economy, and it will in which it operates, such as the general price level, income and employment levels. Okay, general price level or employment levels in the country. When people are not having the employment properly, they do not have that income to buy. When there is not having when they are not having that income, there won't be any demand for the products which we can manufacture. And hence we need to consider what? General income level of the people in the country, general employment rates, general price levels, inflation in the country, everything I need to just consider. See, with respect to taxation, okay, with respect, I started my business. Okay, I'm getting some good demand, I manufactured, I'm selling, I'm making some profit also. But government came up with the taxation policy. Okay, they now implemented, say imagine, from 30% tax margin to tax rate to 50%. So whatever I earn, out of that 50% shall be given to whom now? 50% shall be given to the, okay, government itself. This is the taxation policy of the country. Okay, now even, okay, the amount of hard work I do to manufacture and to make profits, out of that 50% is going to the government itself. Imagine a case, it goes to 70. Okay, gone, everything is gone. 30% for me, 70% with the government. Okay, and hence I need to consider, before you start a business in a country, okay, the taxation system, the interest rates, what they charge, the exchange rates, everything we need to consider, and hence it all comes under macro analysis. I hope you're all getting the point. A business manager must be acquainted with these and other macroeconomic variables, present as well as future. Okay, we need to consider present as well as future, which may influence the business environment, individual business environment. Okay, I guess you're all getting the point. 4 points I covered. Point number 1, business economics is a science and art, and it considers microeconomics and it considers macroeconomics also. And hence, okay, come to the 5th point, use of theory of markets and private enterprises. Okay, and as you all know, once we manufacture the products and we just need to sell that product in the market so that customers can buy. Now you need to observe your competitors. How many competitors are there? Only few competitors, or okay, absolutely many competitors are there? Or are we only the monopoly? Are we only the person who is selling? Monopoly is nothing but what? Okay, only one person selling all the goods. Every customer needs to come to them only. This is called monopoly. Okay, now I need to understand the markets. Okay, and in which market I am there, and at what price I need to sell. Okay, if I keep the price which is more than my competitor's price, what will happen? Okay, all my customers, okay, they will go to my competitor, and hence I need to observe whom? Okay, my competitor also. So first I need to get an understanding of the market and all the sellers who are there in the market. Okay, and different kinds of buyers who come to that market, and I need to make some analysis. And in that market, what is my place? Okay, what is my business's place? That's what I need to understand, and it is called as theory of markets. So business economics considers what? Theory of markets and private enterprises. Okay, private enterprises. So out of entire market, what is my place? What is the product I am selling? How many customers I can attract? How many customer or competitors which I have to my product? So everything I need to consider, and business economics considers what? Types of markets and private enterprises. I hope you're all getting the point clear. Okay, then come to the next area, that is called pragmatic in approach. Okay, pragmatic in approach. So when we start a business, okay, okay, we need to consider what? Micro, and we need to consider what? Macro. Okay, I already told you. Okay, when we consider the macro, we only observe about what? okay, the things which can directly affect the business. Okay, and the business economics deals with micro. It says something, okay, whether to start a business, whether to close the business, or whatever it can be done to the business, that is exactly said by whom? Micro. And as I already told you, there may be something which may affect the business from external environment also, which is called as macro. Okay, and because the business, okay, takes into consideration both micro and macro. Okay, okay, so micro considers what? Some facts, some theories, some assumptions, many things the micro will be considering. However, macro says, okay, additionally few things which may affect the business. The real problems what we can face in the coming future, it can be said by whom? Macro. And hence, okay, and hence business economics considers the theories and its practical problems in the real world what we may face. Okay, this is called a pragmatic in approach. Okay, it is called as what? Pragmatic. Say, let me take one small example to understand this area. Okay, so imagine, okay, as I already told you, when the demand in the market goes up, price will also go up. Okay, price will also go up. Okay, when there is no demand, people are not ready to buy, and the price will come down. Okay, okay, so I'm talking about demand. So at the same time, when the price goes up, the suppliers are, okay, okay, they feel some advantageous position, and they may supply more in price, or more in quantities, because they can supply more in quantity. Okay, so, okay, they'll get some advantage. What is the advantage they can get? Profit. Okay, so price gets affected because of demand. And once you observe one thing, when many people they come and supply will become more than demand. If such a case exists, then again the price will come down. Right? Or okay, so right, or so the price is getting affected by demand and the supply at the same time. Okay, but is it the only thing that should be considered? Is it the only price that should be considered, or is there any other things that should be considered? Okay, as I already told you, okay, this demand and supply is the areas which can determine the price. However, there are many other areas called as income. Okay, income. Say for example, okay, price of the competitor. Say, imagine, as the demand is going up, I raised the price, but my competitor did not raise the price. Okay, my competitor is selling at 100 rupees, but I increases the price to 150. Okay, now can I supply more in the market? No, because I cannot supply more, because my competitor is selling at 100 rupees, people will go there. Okay, so generally, as per the theory, okay, when the demand is going up, I will raise the price. When the demand for the product across the country is going up, I need to raise the price. As per the assumption, as per the theory, I need to raise the price. But okay, my competitor is not raising the price, and hence my real problem is now I cannot increase the price, because I need to follow my competitor. If I do not follow my competitor, what will happen? I will lose all my customers. And hence business economics considers microeconomics. When it only considers the microeconomics, in this example, microeconomics says what? Increase the price. Okay, but what is the practical problem we may face? Okay, we may face the practical problem of what? Losing the customers, because my competitor did not raise the price. And hence the real problem is I cannot also increase the price. This is my main problem. Okay, and business economics considers both, okay, both opportunity of increasing the price and the threat of increasing the price. And hence the real problems are to be considered by business economics, and it does the same. So this is called what? Pragmatic in approach. It's called as what? Pragmatic in approach. See, microeconomics is abstract and purely theoretical, and analysis only economic phenomena under unrealistic assumptions. Okay. In contrast, the business economics is pragmatic in approach. It tackles the practical problems which the firms face in the world. Okay. So real world, what is the problem we face? Okay. What is the problem we are facing? Our competitors are not increasing the price. Though if I make some analysis of micro, it is saying me to increase the price. But when I identify the competitor's price, it is not asking me to increase the price. So business economics is pragmatic in approach, and then come to interdisciplinary in nature. Interdisciplinary. So business economics, is it a separate subject, or is it going to deal with okay all remaining subjects? There are many subjects which is interlinked with economics, that is mathematics, calculations, operations research, management theory, accounting, marketing, finance, statistics, econometrics. As you all know, business deals with all these things. Okay, operations research, there is one big subject in CA Inter. Okay, it carries 40 marks. Or CMA Inter, in fact, CMA Inter, not in CA Inter. We used to have in our CA final when it was old syllabus back in 2002, 2010 to 2015 regime. Okay, so in those years we used to have this operations research subject. Now it got removed in CA final also. Okay, so what are the subject which got associated with business economics? Mathematics, operational research, management theory and accounting, marketing, finance, statistics, econometrics, everything. Okay, and one last point what we can discuss now is normative in nature. Okay, what is called as normative? Okay, so economic theories, okay, the decision making processes, it needs some theory. Okay, economics, okay, economic theories, see, economic theory has developed along two lines. So what are the two lines? Positive and normative. So what is called as positive and normative? Okay, so positive is nothing but business economics identifies the problem. Okay, identifies the generally business economics does what? It identifies the problem. It says the facts. Okay, because it is science. Because it is what? Science. When demand rises, price goes up. When demand comes down, price will also come down. So this is what? It is the fact, it is said by business economics considering the positive lens. So it is the fact. Now, after understanding these facts, how the business needs to react. When something happens, when some problem is faced by the business, how the business needs to react. Okay, the reactions are said by again the business economics as under normative lens. Okay, so identifies the problem, this says the facts. Now how we need to react, it is said by whom? Okay, it is also said by business economics. So business economics is not only restricted to defining the problem, it goes on saying the solution also. So I already told you there is a problem that the competitors are not going to increase their price. Now what is the solution that business economics says? So you also don't increase the price, because if you increase, what will happen? You lose the customers. So business economics says what? It identifies the problem. What is the problem here? The competitors are not increasing the price. What is the solution? You don't increase the price. If you increase, this will happen. So some caution it will be given by whom? Business economics. So I just need to say a few things. Business economics, okay, is developed under two lines. It gives facts, it says the problem, it gives a solution. Okay, it is descriptive in nature, explaining the solution for the same. So positive and normative. I guess you all getting the point very, very clear. Okay, let us read this point. Normative in nature. The economic theory has developed along two lines, positive and normative. A positive and pure science analysis. I already told you, positive is what? Pure science analysis. It gives some facts. See, cause and effect relationship is set by science in a scientific manner, but it does not involve any value judgment. So what should be done? It is not set by science. Okay, but in other words, what is the state of affairs? What is the state of affairs? What exactly the fact? It can be said in a positive line, but not what ought to be, what it should be. It is not said by the science, and hence, in other words, okay, it is descriptive in nature in the sense that it describes the economic behavior of the individuals and society without prescriptions about the desirability and otherwise of such behavior. Okay, some extraordinary words they used. Okay, what is the sentence, the meaning which is really there behind this sentence? See, come here. As against this, a normative science involves value judgments. It is prescriptive in nature. It suggests what should be done. What should be done? What should be? What should be? I hope you all get the point clear. Okay, so now business economics is generally normative and prescriptive. What is prescription? It says, okay, it writes something how to respond. Okay, how to face the problem. Okay, it suggests that application of the economic principles with regard to policy formulation, decision making, what should be done, okay, and future planning, everything will be considered by whom? Business economics normative nature. Okay, now nature of the business economics, what are the points we studied? Science, point number 2, art, point number 3, it considers micro, point number 4, it considers macro also. Okay, and point number 5, it deals with interdisciplinary subjects. Interdisciplinary means what? It depends upon other subjects also. Mathematics, so statistics, so accounting, so finance, everything. Okay, interdisciplinary. Okay, now what is next one? Pragmatic in approach. You know what is pragmatic? Pragmatic is nothing but, okay, we business economics will identify the real problem. Okay, it doesn't only restrict it to microeconomics. It considers the real problems what we may face because of the effects of macro. Okay, and point number 7, it is normative. Okay, it doesn't only define the problem, it gives the real solution also. That is called normative. That's called what? Normative. I hope all the points are clear for you right now. And let me go to the next area, last area of this chapter. And believe me, after I complete this theory content, okay, I'll give you some notes also. Okay, notes. So that notes was already written. Okay, all the MCQs in this chapter will come from that notes itself. Okay, I'll discuss that note also in detail. Okay, there we'll be able to understand how the MCQs are framed in this chapter. Okay, so whenever I open that text or the handwritten notes, then you will be able to, okay, read it very simply and try to solve the MCQs so easily. Okay, now come to the last area, that is scope of business economics. I already told you the scope is extended to internal issues, external issues. Internal issues are nothing but micro, external issues are nothing but macro. Okay, so easy topic. I already completed in detail. Okay, so in that, first we need to understand what? Micro analysis, demand forecasting, demand analysis. We need to do what? Demand analysis. So there are various methods. Okay, before we start a business of manufacturing some good or service, we need to make an assessment of demand for our product. Okay, if society is not ready to buy, then there is no point of production of our own product. And hence, starting step will be what? Demand analysis and forecasting. If I manufacture this product, what is the demand I can get? There are various methods. Okay, linear programming, or there are many other, okay, ways to to forecast the demand. In fact, forecast the demand. So this demand forecasting will be able to learn in chapter number 2. Okay, so time being, you understand one thing, what comes under micro analysis. Okay, micro issues, demand analysis, and forecasting is the important thing we need to consider. Okay, see, demand analysis pertaining to the behavior of whom? Consumers in the market. If I manufacture this product and I am ready to sell at 100 rupees, how many people are ready to buy? If I sell at 200, how many people are ready to buy? So this is called analysis, demand analysis, at different prices. Okay, and different income levels of the people. Okay, and prices of the substitute products or prices of the competitors, what they keep. Taste and preference of the consumers, are they really getting changed? Right now, there is a lot of demand for the product. Say example, right now there is a lot of demand for product I manufactured. But all of a sudden, what happened? The change in preferences of, okay, the taste and preference of the consumers got changed. Now what will happen? I will lose the demand for my product. Then I need to understand one thing. First you do one thing, okay? What is that? Make some demand analysis. And then you start manufacturing. Okay? So demand forecasting is the technique of predicting the future demand of the goods and services based on the past behavior. How people used to consume the goods. Okay? How rapid the taste and preference are getting changed by the getting changed in the environment. How people are changing themselves. Okay, previously, okay, lot of people they used to consume, they used to use Microsoft phones, but later all of a sudden what happened? These days, lot of people they are buying iPhones in India. Lot of market iPhone fetched in India. Okay, so Android phones people used to have. Now what is happening? Slowly people taste and preference are getting changed, and a lot of people now they are ready to buy iPhones irrespective of the prices. That's what it is happening. Okay, going forward, accurate forecasting is essential because once you fail to accurately estimate your demand, you manufacture a lot of goods, but people end up not buying. Then you will be at loss, and hence demand analysis is the first issue. Okay, demand forecasting is the first issue we face when we start doing business. Okay, and once we estimate the demand, the next step immediately what we need to do is we need to arrange factors of production. We need to have capital, we need to have labor, land, entrepreneurship, everything we need to consider. Okay, and hence the next area is what? Raw material, labor, machines, equipment, building, everything we need to, okay, obtain. Business economics provides the manager with the scientific tools which assist him in demand forecasting. We'll learn these tools in chapter number 2. Okay, come to the next area. Okay, we forecasted the demand and we came to a conclusion that, okay, around 1 lakh units are demanded from the society, and now we are ready to, okay, make 1 lakh units from our side. Now the next issue what we face is, okay, we need to have to make this production land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Okay, now for them we need to pay some charge. For land, when we acquire we need to pay rent. Labor, when we acquire we need to pay wages, and capital when we obtain we need to pay interest, and entrepreneur we need to give net profits. And the business needs to consider all these expenditures or not? Yes, business needs to consider all these expenditures. Okay, okay, now all these expenditures put together it gives you some cost. Okay, some cost. How to manage the cost? Okay, cost theories, there are a lot of cost theories and cost graphs where we need to observe while we manufacture the products. Okay, so cost gives you some production. So how much production we need to make at what cost? This we need to observe. Okay, and that is said in the second point, production and cost. In fact, this is chapter number 3. This is chapter number 3 in our, okay, in our subject, chapter number 3. Okay, the previous point is chapter number 2. I am not reading it right now because you will be able to understand this in detail at the end of the day. Okay, not now. So have some patience. We'll go and discuss chapter number 2 and 3 in a detailed manner, and then you come and read this chapter number 1. Right now, understand one point. Under micro issues, 2 things: demand forecasting, next production and cost, and then come to the next area, inventory management. Okay, see, while we manufacture some goods, we'll maintain some inventory in the form of raw material. Okay, we need to have raw material, and raw material in the process of getting converted into finished goods, some materials will be in the form of work in progress. And after we manufacture goods, those will be converted into finished goods which we need to hold till those goods are sold. So immediately, as and when you manufacture, people won't come and buy, right? You need to manufacture and hold some finished goods in your hands, and then people start coming to you and they buy goods. Until they come, okay, it is your inventory which we need to hold with you in your stock. Now that stock will be in the form of what? Raw material form, WIP form. What is WIP? Work in progress. Okay, what is last point? Finished goods. Now you observe one thing. If you maintain huge stock of raw material and finished goods and WIP, okay, and people are slowly coming, what is happening to you? Whatever the cost you incur to buy this raw material, to convert this WIP or to manufacture this finished goods, all the cost is a blockage. All the money what you keep on those goods, okay, will be blocked for some time. and you'll be losing some interest on the income or some interest on that investment in those materials. And hence it is really very helpful when you manage your inventory very well. Okay, when you manage, so absolute stock you need to maintain. Overstock it should not be there, understock it should not be there, and hence you need to plan your inventory at the levels which can satisfy the demand of the consumers. Okay, and at the same time keeping your cost of holding that inventory, cost you invested in that inventory, money you invested in that inventory low, keeping that it should be low. Okay, inventory cost should be low. Okay, so the maintaining inventory cost, maintenance of inventory, that cost what we incur, it should be low. Okay, that is called inventory management. So business economics considers what? Inventory management also. See, okay, what are the forms of inventory? It is work in progress, raw material, finished goods. And inventory policies of the company, how much finished goods I need to maintain, that we need to understand, that we need to forecast properly based on the demand, and hence take the decision of holding the inventory well. Okay, I hope you're all getting the point clear. That is inventory management. Come to the next area, that is called as market structure and pricing policy. I already told you a lot of times, market structure, perfectly competitive market will be there, imperfectly competitive market will be there. In the imperfectly competitive market, okay, there are different types. Okay, so in that monopoly, okay, I already explained what is monopoly. Okay, only one seller is there. Monopolistic, there is another thing. Okay, monopolistic, another kind of market it is there. And oligopolistic market, oligopoly, okay, another kind of market. And each market, okay, will have different conditions to sell the goods at the price it determines. The business needs to determine. Okay, so different prices in the different markets, different output for the different markets, and hence we need to observe what, after we produce our inventory or our finished goods, in which market we are into, and at what price I need to sell. Okay, that concept is called as what? Equilibrium quantity. Okay, equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. Don't worry, these are the words we'll get in chapter number 4. Okay, so in this question I am just explaining you one thing. Okay, all remaining chapter names are the points here in this question. Okay, first one demand. Okay, next one production cost. Next one market and pricing policies. So all these are what? Next chapter names. And then resource allocation. Okay, resource allocation. I told you there is a business, okay, which can manufacture two things: product A, product B. Okay, and for this we need to have some labor. Okay, labor. So we have 5 men to work. Now you tell me, first the business needs to make an analysis of profitability of A and B. If more profits can be obtained from A, obviously this labor can be assigned to work A, not work B. Product A, not product B. And hence this is called resource allocation. Now we need to observe one thing: how many resources we have, and then we need to decide upon, okay, on which product I need to allocate this resource. This also to be done by whom? This is the scope of business economics. So economics shall do this thing also. What is this? Resource allocation. You can just read this. Okay, and for this also, resource allocation also, we have some theories called as linear programming, mathematics area, this one, and which is not so relevant for our discussion in business economics paper. Okay, see, business economics with the help of advanced tools such as linear programming. Okay, some mathematical formulas we use. Okay, and there is one subject I already told you, right? Operations research. Okay, and in this subject also we assign the resources very well. Okay, and then theory of capital and investment decisions. Okay, how much capital is required, how much investment we need to have to start a business, and at what rate the capital to be obtained, rate of interest. Okay, once we start doing business, after getting profits, are the profits really given back to the owners, or are the profits really reinvested in the business itself? This is the capital structure theories which we will understand in CA Inter Financial Management subject. Okay, so this is theory of capital and investment decisions. So we have 2 projects to start. Okay, now we need some money, 1 crore. Now this 1 crore can be used for either option number 1 or option number 2. Which investment is really okay advantageous for the organization? This one we need to choose. That is called as investment decisions. Okay, we'll do in CA Inter financial management, and don't worry, I'll be taking up financial management at that level also. So whatever we understand now, okay, it is just the subject names or chapter names of different subjects. That's it. Even next one, profit analysis. Okay, I already told you, once we get the profit, is it to be given back to the owners or is it to be reinvested in the business? Okay, so we need to make some profit analysis. So is the profit high, low? So if that is high, what is the alternative we need to choose? If that is low, what is the alternative that we need to select? So this is called profit analysis. See, profits are most often uncertain due to changing prices and market conditions. Okay, profit theory guides the firm in measurement and management of the profits under conditions of uncertainty. See, for example, this year I got profit. Okay, huge profit of 1 crore. 1 crore. Now, we are estimating something in future, and there may be a chance that we may get losses or we may face some problem in the next year. Then whatever the profit we get in the current year, okay, we keep that very safe. We use that profit in the next year whenever it is required. Okay, it is not paid to the owner. They cannot take home. Okay, this profit is kept by the business itself separately, which can be used as a reserve in the next year. Okay, so that it will be helpful for the organization when there is tough time for the organization. Okay, that is called profit analysis. I hope you are all getting the point. And even business economics, when it considers micro and macro, is it a future prediction or a past prediction? They use the past results, past statistics, okay, to predict the future. And when you predict the future, obviously it will be uncertain. Okay, you cannot have certain conclusions when we predict the future. And hence business economics always deals with what? Risk and uncertainty analysis. Okay, we need to consider the risk and uncertainty also when we deal with business economics. Okay, see, based on the past data and current information, we will predict the future, and it gives rise to what? Uncertainty. Okay, this uncertainty should also be considered by the business economics for taking decisions. I hope you're all clear with this topic called as what? Scope of business economics issues. Which issues? Micro, internal issues. And when it comes to macro, okay, which kind of issues we face? Okay, are we into, okay, which economic system? Okay, economic system is nothing but country's economic system. Okay, say for example, company is a socialistic economy or capitalistic economy or mixed economy. There are different types of economies which a country can follow. Socialistic economy means government domination is more. See, there is a country called North Korea, okay, where if you want to start a business, okay, when you earn some profits, you cannot enjoy or you cannot keep your price properly. Okay, based on your assessment, you cannot keep your price. Everything will be decided by whom? Government itself. So you incurred some cost of 100 rupees. Now you want to sell it at 120, but government said keep it at 80. You are supposed to keep it 80 only, not 120, even though you may face loss. Okay, this is happening in some countries. Okay, those are called as what? Socialistic countries, because the government rule is more there. The government domination is more there, called as socialistic countries. Because government there focuses on welfare of the people of the country. Okay, they do not support whom? They support, but they do not, okay, give too much of support to the individual business, okay, men. Okay, so whereas when it comes to the socialistic countries or capitalistic countries, the freedom is there with whom? The capitalists. The persons who do the business, they are called capitalists. Okay, and they are free to keep their prices. They are free to manufacture the products. Okay, there are only minimum involvement of government, though some licenses may be given by the government, but too much of involvement is not there, okay, for government in the economy. Okay, the free business can be taken place in capitalistic economy, but the best example is USA. Okay, so USA is run by private people, though the government is there, but no such restrictions of the government on the business when it is compared to socialist. Okay, China, Okay, and even North Korea, these are the countries which follow socialistic economy. Okay, when it comes to mixed economy like India, okay, both private involvement is there, government involvement is also there. Okay, so mostly it is mixed economy. So will it really affect, okay, the business individually? Okay, the business individually, yes. Okay, if it is more government oriented, government controlled, then obviously it will have huge impact on the business. Okay, you just want to make some profits and sell it as 120 rupees, sell it at 120, but government is forcing you to keep the prices 80 at 80. Will it affect the business? Yes, sir. And hence I need to consider the economic system in which the country is running. Okay, I hope you all get the point. And then come to the second one, stage of business cycle. Stage of business cycle. So let us understand few things. This area we learn in chapter number 5. Okay, but right now I'll give few aspects, okay, of this business cycle. Always you imagine one thing. Okay, you keep in mind one thing. Okay, so every country, just a minute. Okay, every country in this world, they have some people in their society, and the well-being of the society is really very important. Okay, so now the demand and supply of goods and services to that particular people in that particular society. Okay, demand and supply which is there in that country is affected by people only. When people are more, obviously demand will be more, and there are certain other factors are also to be considered, right? Okay, why many companies are getting profits in India, many companies are surviving in India, because the population in India is more, the demand for the products are, okay, it is very high. Okay, now what exactly it happens, the demand, the supply, people, what is the link? Okay, always you believe one thing. Okay, believe me now. Okay, when you start a business in a country, okay, I'm talking about not only particular business, I'm talking about entire country, everyone who is doing business in this country. Okay, initially when they start, based on the conditions of the country, okay, at the beginning when I draw a graph, okay, the business performance will be high, lot of output, lot of people, they sell more goods, people are happy to buy, the demand is there, supply is there, and it gets improved. Okay, in that country, okay, it is expansion phase. It is what? Expansion phase. So every business will have a success. They meet that success in this expansion period, because a lot of people have income, they are ready to buy, and when they are ready to buy, I am ready to sell at high prices. Then expansion phase, and after everything is expanded, one fine day, okay, it will reach to the peak. It will reach to what? Peak. And there won't be any further expansion in this period. Okay, stagnated. Okay, the demand for the products becomes stagnated, supply of the product becomes stagnated. Okay, then what happens? What happens? People, okay, after people buy lot of goods, okay, and people will be now out of money with them, and the income levels will fall down. And people start ignoring the products, and the demand will, okay, come down. When the demand comes down, suppliers are not able to sell, all the businesses will again come down. Okay, so this is peak. This is what? Peak. And then it starts, okay, recession. The word we already listen many times, that is called recession. Okay, downfall. Okay, also called as contraction. Here it is expansion, here it is called as what? Contraction. Okay, again it comes down, and the deepest point it will reach. This is called depression. It's called as what? Depression phase. Okay, low, very much bottom. Okay, and then what happens? The prices will come down, no one is ready to buy, demand comes down, price will come down, and again at some point of time, again it starts expanding, and it goes on and reaches peak, comes down. Okay, each business cycle, each of these four: expansion, peak, contraction, depression, this is called business cycle. Okay, lot of times it happens, and each business cycle will take around 20 to 30 years, or sometimes it may be 50 to 70 years for a country. Okay, so this is called as what? Business cycle. Now you tell me, if you start a business in a country which is in this expansion phase of the business cycle, will there be success or not? Yes. When it is coming down or depressed stage, when you start doing business, okay, then the business will make some loss. Now you need to consider in which phase the business cycle is in that country, stage of business cycle. So in this small point, lot of things are there: expansion, peak, contraction, depression. When is it advantage for a business to start in a country? Okay, you need to observe the stage. Is it in expansion stage, peak stage, depression stage, contraction stage? That you need to understand. Easy, simple. Okay, next one. The general trends in the national income, employment, prices, saving and investment. It was already over in macroeconomics discussion. And also this, the government economic policies like industrial policy, okay, competition policy. Say for example, government is discouraging some industries. Say example, alcohol industry. Okay, the government came up with the policy called as alcohol should be banned in the country. This is the industrial policy they implemented this year. Now the business, when we want to start manufacturing of alcohol, is it advantageous in India? No. So this is the policy which is affecting whom? The persons who manufacture alcohol. And competition policy, okay, competition policy. So the prices are regulated by the government. Okay, you cannot say, for example, there are two competitors, one is selling at 100, all of a sudden to secure the market you are keeping the price at 20. Is it right? No, the government is regulating the prices of the goods and it is under competition policy. So that we need to understand. Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is nothing but taxation policy. Okay, how much is the money the government is spending? How much is the money the government is expecting to get as a form of taxation? More the tax rates are, less the business. Okay, we start in India. Okay, recently one topic arose in the country, that is Tesla. Okay, Tesla wants to start its manufacturing in India, but lot of taxation, okay, lot of taxes Indian government imposed, and they dropped from opening this business in India. Well, that's what happened. So taxation policies will affect the business, and hence foreign trade policy. Okay, foreign trade policy, that is exports and imports, what we can make, the raw material what we can import, the finished goods what we can export. Okay, there are some restrictions on those policies, imports and exports. This is covered in foreign trade policy. So all these things will affect the business or not? Yes. Okay, you are into manufacturing some finished goods where we want to import that product, raw material, from the foreign countries, and there is a restriction put in place by the government under foreign trade policy. How can you do the business? It's not possible. Okay, come to the last area, working of central banks, financial sectors, capital markets and their regulations. Okay, see then here simple thing is interest rates. If you want to start a business, you need some loan. Okay, and loan itself they are charging 30%. Will people do the business? No. Whatever I get, out of 30% will be paid as tax, 30% will be paid as interest. Then what is the money I make? It is disadvantageous position for the business. That needs to be considered. And socio-economic organizations like trade unions, producers, consumer unions, cooperatives. Okay, when you start a manufacturing company, okay, you need to have some labor. Okay, and all this labor, they form a union. Okay, there may be demands from union side. Okay, if it is not fulfilled, they may go for strikes. Then it will be affecting the business in an adverse way. And hence we need to consider, are the trade unions there or not? Is there any thing that can be affecting the business? Everything should be considered. It is the macro level economic factor that we need to consider. Okay, social and political environment, that also needs to be considered. Okay, political, social, tradition. Okay, see in India, if you want to start a beef processing company, okay, beef, okay, it is meat, okay, beef. Is it advantageous to start this business in India? No, because our culture, okay, say when we go to China, they eat everything. When you go to China, they eat each and every insect which is in existence in this world. Okay, but it is not happening in India because of what reason? Because our tradition, our social custom, okay, is not encouraging all these things. And hence, when you start doing business, you observe the social culture of the country also, and even political environment also. Because when we talk about BJP, which is there in India, okay, so it is having some culture which implements something, okay, and that business needs to follow that culture which is set by this political environment, that political party, the policy what they follow. So obviously we need to consider what social and political environment. Okay, all these things are what? In simple points. Okay, all these things are micro, macro factors. Okay, that's it. Now, okay, the last area of this unit, the difference between economics and business economics. Okay, so this is given as homework. Okay, in our app you can just post any doubts. This is given as homework. Okay, read, because I completed economics, I completed business economics. When we read everything, you will come to an understanding, and you get back to me with some doubts. Okay, and maybe after some time I'll be explaining this business economics and economics difference also once you read it. Okay, so I hope I'm done with this unit, and in the next lecture I'll be showing you the um, working, okay, or handwritten notes covering all MCQs. Okay, done. Thank you. Bye bye.